Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, February 8th, and if your RV was stolen, wouldn't you want to know who did it? We've got a great device that can help you in this, and it actually did help someone. We've got John Korn from RVID on today's RVNN-Live, brought to you in part by Pet Hub and GoToMeeting.
Today's program brought to you by Pet Hub. Protect your pet for pennies a day with critical contact, medical, and dietary information on a smartphone scannable ID tag. And by GoToMeeting, affordable online meetings that work so you can do more and travel less.
Hey everyone, it's Courtney Wallen here at RVNN TV, and of course I'm joined by Andy McCaskey. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
I thought I'd just kind of drop by and see what was going on in the studio today.
Hey, I'm glad you did. We've got a great guest that we literally just called about it an hour ago, so we appreciate your willingness to be flexible, John. We've got John Korn from RVID. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Pleasure to be back on your show.
It's great to have you. And of course, today, like I teased a little bit here in the intro, a story that was actually just released yesterday about an RV that was stolen. And the RVID had a huge role in finding out what happened.
Well, I'm not sure that it got exactly stolen. It just was heading down the road at a high rate of speed towards the state line.
Whoops. John, can you tell us more?
Well, sure. You know, it's actually not the kind of story you hear every day. There was a brand new Pleasureway Excel motorhome that was on display at McMahon's RV in Irvine, California, and a prospective purchaser came to the lot and seemed to be very interested in a purchase. Hooked up with a salesman, talked about it for a while, went for a nice test drive together. And when they got back to the lot, the salesman, got out of the vehicle, and the prospective buyer took off, and drove off the lot. And the salesman and the other sales staff were kind of dumbfounded, saying, "Well, that's odd. I wonder if she's coming back. Maybe she just wanted to drive it a little bit more." So I think that I wasn't there for this part, but I think that they waited a little bit, going, well, this has never happened before. And when the RV didn't return, they notified the police and filed a police report. Unfortunately, in Southern California, I guess vehicle thefts aren't the highest police priority. So the police said, okay, well, thanks for the report, and hopefully we'll get it back for you. This happened on a Sunday afternoon, and I was out with my kids and saw the phone ring, and it happened to be Paul Schilperwort, who's the director of operations there at McMahon's. He called me. He told me what happened. He said, "John, I'm just praying that this particular unit had an RVID device installed on it." And McMahon's, just so you know, a number of their RVs have RVID, but they don't have direct access to it themselves yet, although we hope that's about to change. So they needed to call us, and we were able to get online and confirm immediately that this RV had RVID, and we could watch it moving in real time as it sped away in the direction of Las Vegas.
Oh. Coincidence? I think not.
This is, apparently they really were interested in this motorhome, so interested that they just couldn't wait to even get financed for it. Really interesting. So, obviously we've had you on the show to talk about this, and this is one of the reasons why you want the RVID is if, there's a social aspect to it, social media aspect to it, but there's also the security aspect, and this really came in hand here. And like you said, so this device is going to be incorporated where the actual dealer or manufacturer can access it themselves, is what you're saying. So if this happens, they don't have to go through you. Yeah.
Exactly. This particular unit was equipped with RVID thanks to Pleasureway, which is a motorhome manufacturer in Saskatoon, Canada. Pleasureway was one of the first companies to really see the value in this and installed RVID. At this point in time, they install it in everything that they build. This was there but it was owned by McMahon's at the time, so McMahon's knew that their pleasureways were equipped, and phoned me to help them track it.
Yeah. One of the phrases that kind of caught my eye in the press release that McMahon's put out was headed to a chop shop in the desert. I mean, was that kind of theatrical, or is that really what happens with units after they're stolen?
Well, it didn't make it to a chop shop, so I guess we'll never know.
But I mean, are oftentimes are stolen vehicles, actually disassembled? Is that one of the fates that these units might have, or is that kind of an unusual thing that might be a risk?
Well, we do see that. Being here in Southern California, we're close to the border, and oftentimes vehicles disappear south of the border, and you never see them again. What happens there, I guess, is an unknown. In this case, it was headed northbound on Interstate 15 in the direction of Las Vegas. And I don't know the whole background on this one, Andy, but I think this person actually just might have needed a home, frankly. And maybe she was taking it to a chop shop for money. Maybe she was going to park it out in the middle of nowhere and live there. Yeah. For as long as she could. We just don't know. Right.
Well, and one of the other things is this was a dealer-owned unit, but this could have just as easily been someone's home for whatever reason. They left the keys in or left it running for just a second to jump out and check something, and you could see how this could certainly happen outside of a dealer environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we built into RVID, both for the benefit of dealers and anyone who happens to own it at the time, or like a lender who has a financial interest in it. You can see it in real time moving, and it's pretty exciting. With LoJack, not to to great service, but with LoJack, once something's stolen, you can potentially locate it using their system. RVID is different because it actually alerts you when something is stolen, and then you don't need to contact the police to find it. You just log on to your account on your website, and you can watch your RV, moving in real time.
My question is, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, would be, what was the reaction of the person? It's almost like I can't even be mad. I'm impressed that this happened. I mean, like I said, you may not know the answer to that, but I could only imagine the shock of like, how in the world did you find me in the, obviously besides just chasing her straight out of the dealership, but was there a reaction that you know of, or probably disappointed?
That's a really good question, Courtney. I was only surmising as I was watching this unfold, because I was on the phone live with the CHP dispatcher, giving her updates on location, which she was then relaying by radio to patrolmen who found her and followed her. And she told me a little bit about the way it was done. Is one guy kind of quietly pulls in behind her, and then I don't know how many, I'm guessing 2 or 3 other guys go ahead, and they wait in a safe area. Like, I think it ended up being in a truck stop that's well lit. And so she's driving along, and all of a sudden the lights come on behind her, and she pulls off into the truck stop, and there to greet her are 3 other police, and then the guy behind her as well. And so it must have been very, very surprising in how the beat did this happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, now, if this had been on a smaller unit, on a towable, let's say, and the thieves disconnected the electricity on the unit, would RVID still have tracked what's going on and reported it?
It would. On towable units and on some motorized units, we use a device that has an internal battery of its own. And that battery is a very long life battery, and it can power the whole system for 6 months or even more.
Wow.
So had they disconnected all power, it still would have been giving signals. It wouldn't have made a difference to us.
So if this unit were, say, in a storage yard that, for whatever reason the wire had been breached there, it would have been protected as well.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Well, on a lighter note, we want to say again, thank you so much for participating in our 10 Days of Giving. It's weird. It's almost been two months approaching, which is very strange to think. Time moves very quickly, but of course, the RVID, the Smart RV unit, went to Nanette Cole, who joined us on the show. And like I said, I'll have to send you that. But she is headed out on her journey to find the back roads of America, and she's going to be fully equipped with the Smart RV. Man, I can't spit that out today. Smart RV unit. So excited to give her that. And you were able to connect with the folks at Fleetwood, where she is getting her new motorhome, and just have that installed for her right there. So we really appreciate you doing that. I know she is just smitten. She's just so excited to get this in her hands and just get on the road. I know that she's kind of got a countdown on Facebook and stuff. So yeah, I'm sure you'll be informed of her trip. So thank you for doing that. That's what we want to say.
I just hope that she friends me so I can watch.
We'll make sure that happens. John, thanks so much for joining us. I guess I should ask where people can find out more about smart RVs and how to take a basically dumb one and make it smart.
Yeah, well, that's great, Andy. Thanks for giving me the little promo there. If you're in the industry, our commercial services are available at www.rv-id.com. And if you are an RV owner, go to mysmartrv.com, and you'll see all the info you need.
My Smart RV. Well, John, thanks very much for filling us in on this story. That'll shorten the news segment in today's show, but it's always great to get the word from somebody who is right in the middle of the chase there. And I can imagine the dispatcher relaying the information. And what time did this finally wrap up? Was this in the evening?
Yeah, we got the RV, I think, within about 2 hours of its theft. So I think it started about 4 or 5 o'clock, and we had it by 6:30 or 7.
Great story. Thanks so much for joining us, and look forward to talking with you the next time.
Hey, great. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Courtney. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. Great story, and glad it was found, and just a neat product. So be sure to check it out. Get RV, man, my words are just not coming out today. RV-ID.com or smartrv.com.
Hey, maybe I should take over.
RV.
Maybe I should take over the 30-second operation here.
Go for it.
Please circle us on Google Plus, and don't forget that we are now on the Roku, which is a set-top box, the same technology that Netflix uses to put movies on your flat screen. You can also watch RVNN there as well. As you have found out, RVNN-Live has shifted to a new time, 12 noon Eastern, and we will continue to replay that through the lunch hour in California, i.e. through 4 o'clock Eastern. So you have a couple of chances to see what's going on each day. And also thanks to our newest sponsor, Dicor Corporation, at the core of everything you do. Dicor is a company that makes all kinds of stuff that are used in modern RVs to manufacture them, and also for repairs as well. So, Courtney, I think that's the quick list.
That is a quick list. Thank you for taking over and letting my words sink in a little bit more today, and hopefully I can speak the rest of the episode. So now we're going to talk about our RV business headlines, which are now slashed a little shorter because of John's appearance.
A couple of things. Of course, that was probably one of the most interesting stories from a consumer standpoint. We're working closely with RVBusiness.com, which is the magazine of record, I guess you would say, for the business of recreational vehicles. But from time to time they have notes of interest to consumers, so we want to go ahead and grab that as well. 2 additional items. First of all, Airstream and CoachNet have gone together to create an RV aid partnership. Now, this is included in each of the 2012 models that come from Airstream, but there's also what they call the Legacy Program for people who have earlier Airstream models, and that was a part of the agreement. So National Motor Club and Airstream will be in contact with existing Airstream owners. CoachNet's 24/7 availability expands Airstream's service and provides factory-trained reps to assist Airstream owners wherever they may travel throughout the U.S. and Canada. This is the 25th year for CoachNet and its services to the RV industry. Big news up in Minnesota, the RV Vacation and Camping Show, the 45th annual one's beginning in Minneapolis, opens up this week. Of course, they are talking about kind of a strange demographic. Not strange. You think of RVing being baby boomers and retirees, but that turns out not to be the case. Still an important part of the market, of course, but Jeffrey Perro, who's a business manager at Hilltop Trailer Sales in Fridley, Minnesota, said that the biggest portion of their business is actually younger families. And if you begin to look at the stats on it, average age of an RV owner is 48 years old. 39% of RV owners have children under 18 living at home. Biggest gain is between RV owners aged 35 to 54, and they make up nearly half of all RV households. Of course, RVs have all the comforts of home. 8.9 million households in the U.S. own an RV, and in fact, that's up from 5 million 30 years ago. Minnesota has over 150,000 trailers and motorized vehicles, and that doesn't even include truck campers. So anyway, great show if you're up in the Minneapolis area. That's it for the news.
You know, that statistic, 48 years old is the average. I would be interested to see in the next 5 years that that average goes down.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, because particularly as RVers adapt, as RV manufacturers adapt to lighter vehicles that can be towed by, or lighter units that can be towed by smaller vehicles, and this whole active component that is coming into the marketplace of younger people in their 20s and 30s who want to get out and explore the country, and maybe before they have kids.
Yep.
And so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to demographics overall.
The green component, all those things are attracting just a different crowd, so it'll be very interesting. Before we go into the social media headlines for today, we wanted to take a quick look at Pet Hub. Be sure to go to pethub.com. Check out this device. It is a QR code tag for your pet of any sort. They come in different sizes, different colors, all kinds of good stuff. The basic information, though, is all stored, and if your pet does go lost, the Good Samaritan that finds it can scan this code here, get all the information on the pet, health, anything it needs, pet insurance, things of that nature. So just go to pethub.com, check it out, and when you go to check out your purchase, put in the code RVNN20 to receive 20% off of their already low price. So check it out, pethub.com.
At pethub.com. What's happening in the social media world?
Oh, lots of stuff.
Facebook and Twitter in the world of RVs.
Yes, lots of good stuff. Today, the first one I want to look at here is the world's weirdest museums. Now, last week I featured Roadside America as my travel app of the day, which kind of features that giant ball of yarn in such and such place, and this, that, and the other thing. These are museums. Some of these are across the world, but a lot of them are actually here in the United States. And this is from independenttraveler.com. And really interesting things here. If you haven't been to these, or if you're traveling to one of these states, I would say go ahead and check these out. There are some strange ones. Yeah, the Museum of Hair in Independence, Missouri. They suggest you stop by to see the the labor of love, the Hair Museum. It's a former hairdresser that runs a museum featuring more than 2,000 pieces of antique art made from human hair. Ugh. Yuck.
Well, that is an unusual destination, an unusual museum.
Yes.
I have to agree. Good work there.
Do you see this last line? It says, a visit to the museum could inspire you to fashion a pair of earrings out of Dad's mustache. I don't think that's going to happen.
Don't think that's...
Partly because my dad doesn't have a mustache, but mostly because that's just gross. The Spam Museum in Austin, Minnesota. It's America's favorite mystery meat, and it's celebrated in this museum where spam-ambassadors roam along over 16,000 square feet. Spam artifacts, factoids, yuck. Weird. Another yuck. Now, I'm going to scroll down here. You just have to go. This is kind of funny. The Museum of Bad Art in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
But the one that really piqued my interest, now these are all very strange, is the Glore Psychiatric Museum in St. Joseph, Missouri. Now, there's a video here. I encourage you to watch it because I'm kind of intrigued by things of that nature just in general. But you go to this museum, and it really is, it's weird, but it's a lot of history to see where our practices have come as far as people struggling with those kinds of issues, and what they used to do and what they're doing now. And even though there are really strange things going on, you can see that we've pulled bits and pieces of it. So any of these in here pique your interest?
Well, I was just looking at this. It's actually would be kind of well, education is not exactly the right word. I think it would increase awareness if you had kids to go through this. Initially they would maybe be like in the horror movie mode and so forth. But I think there are teachable moments here that in that sort of museum.
I think that's kind of the horror part of it.
I also saw here the Winchester House in San Jose. This is the lady who is the heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, and she built a 160-room house that she kept on going until she died at age 82, and always adding on to the house, always building new rooms. A very fascinating place to go through as well. And these rooms are not just one beside the other. It's, as they pointed out here, it's very much like an Escher drawing where you have staircases that go to nowhere, and then things open up, and then there's a room mounted in a different way, and so forth. A fascinating peek into some unusual destinations here in North America.
So make your trip a little bit more interesting, and check that out. We will have the website with that article in today's show notes, and of course we tweeted that out. You can follow us on Twitter at RVNewsNet. This next little article here is, I retweeted this from Family Trips. You can check them out. Are you planning a family trip? I think a lot of people are. Make it a tantrum-free, drama-less trip. Is there even such a thing?
Preventing travel meltdown.
Yes, preventing the meltdown. Now, I don't know if you can ever really prevent the meltdown, but this great site here kind of gives you some golden rules for family travel, and I'll just go ahead and read them, just the main portion here. Meet the needs of the youngest family member, which, as the oldest, I say, 2, underplan. 3, go for the green spaces, meaning trails, go out and play Frisbee, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, kids need to burn off that energy.
Yeah.
And I see one of the things here, the ding-dongs, ho-hos, and sugar pops are probably not good snacks.
No.
For kids in the back seat.
Yeah, that's one of the things here. Pack healthy snacks. Plan to spend some time alone with each of your children. I think my parents, I don't know how they did it, but I feel like they did a really good job. There's only 3 of us, but I never felt like any of us were really left out, and I'm sure that played some kind of a role in that. Understand your family's unique road rhythms, and have a sense of humor. Things are going to get crowded. Traffic's going to be bad. Things are going to happen, and just have a sense of humor about it. And I think that goes for any trip, whether you have kids or not. That sense of humor is going to play a huge role on the whole. It's not the destination; it's the
journey.
The journey.
The journey.
And
journey. One of the things to talk about is that this is why RVing is really appealing. If you have a lousy trip, and it's like nothing goes right for the 7 days that you're out there, that's still valuable, because that's something that everyone in the family is going to remember. And if you can focus on a couple of things that were kind of funny, in retrospect, it's still going to be a great family experience, and the RV gives you that opportunity as well. What else you got on the list here?
Well, this next one, I love celebrities RVing and finding out more about celebrities who RV, because they are people too. And I think it's just fun to see them doing this and exploring this lifestyle. But Michelle Williams, who is the Oscar-nominated actress and been in lots of other things, she plans to take an RV road trip with her daughter Matilda. And she was recently on, it's not Regis and Kelly now, it's the Kelly Show, Live with Kelly. And she talked about how she's going to take this road trip, and her daughter suggested, this is what her daughter wanted to do. Her young daughter said, I want to RV, and they're really basically just doing the pretty typical museums and things like that. They're not.
So they're headed to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, headed to the Grand Canyon.
That's one of the things you want to do.
I'm trying to get this video queued up here while we're talking, but but it's just kind of neat to see that, you know, these people, not that they're any different. I mean, they are celebrities, but that she's willing as a single mom to take this RV and drive it herself. And I hope that empowers people to do the same.
She also took home the Best Actress Golden Globe for her role in Maryland. So that's where you may have been familiar with the name, or certainly with the face.
And I was gonna say, if you're from my era, you know her better from Dawson's Creek, the show that I could not miss when I was in junior high. I'm sure,
which is off my radar. I have to admit. Yes. But you know, this is one of the other things. I remember a person that I worked with who was a very extremely effective salesperson in a high technology company, and she loved RVing. And when you talked with her, it was the fact that she could just be mom. She didn't have to have her commercial self there, and they would head up most every weekend, just maybe 30-50 mile radius of their home, and just really thoroughly enjoyed the lifestyle because it was such a break. And I imagine celebrities are seeking, you know, much of the same experience. And you know, if this lady pulled up in an RV, you know, had a spot right next to you, it's like you probably wouldn't imagine that a celebrity would be there, and you say, boy, you look a lot like this lady I've seen.
On Dawson's Creek back when
I was.
I think it's refreshing because, and even that her daughter, this was refreshing to me, that her daughter, who has a very famous father, who, you know, Heath Ledger, and very famous mother, that if she wants to just go to the Grand Canyon, I just feel like in my head, kids like that would want to go to like Paris, or even that probably is just like, oh, I've been to Paris. I'm 13 years old. I've been to Paris, you know, to do the hair flip.
You got the
thing.
flip, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
you got to
hard
do the
with
flip.
the headset on.
It is, and with my hair tied back today. So, but it was just refreshing to see a kid wanting to do the all-American trip in an RV. So check it out. It'll be in our show notes. Of course, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/RV Newsnet, and on Twitter. And of course, you can circle us on Google+. I'd love to hear back from you. You can email me at cw@rvnn.tv, or find me on Twitter and just say, hey, I liked or didn't like that article, or if you find something, pass it along.
You know what else people could do? They could suggest a travel app of the day.
Oh, yes. That would be awesome, because that's a great segue to the portion of the show called Travel App of the Day. And today I've chosen one, Andy, that I couldn't be more excited about.
Okay.
And you happened to ask me to do something before we went on air here, and I almost told you what my app was because it would have been relevant. So I'll just go ahead. It's called Snapseed, and I've got a little video. I'm going to go ahead and play that first.
How cool.
You have 2 weeks.
Okay, I can hear it already. Courtney, there wasn't any sound.
Oh.
There was no voiceover on that. Well, you don't really need one. Now, what Snapseed is, it is a travel app. I would consider it a photography travel app. The cost on it is $4.99. It's for your iPad, your iPhone, and now they have a desktop version for your Mac. It is going to be coming soon to the Android market, so you'll be sure to check that out. The desktop version is $19.99, which, Andy, let's just have a quick conversation. Before we came on, you asked me to get on Photoshop, which is a program I've used for years.
Yep, exactly.
I'm familiar with it, but what's the price point on Photoshop?
Oh, geez. Photoshop Elements itself is like $80, and the Photoshop Suite, the official commercial version, wow, hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
Yes.
I have the commercial version, and we use Elements here on the computer I'm working on, and I know the amount of money that I spent on my version, and now I have to upgrade, and I'm not really so sure I want to because I already spent so much money on my program. However, what I'm talking about is this app. You can edit your photographs, even if you're taking them on your regular camera, if you're taking them from your iPhone or wherever you're taking them, you can import them on your iPad, depending on the megapixels. You'll have to look at the details here. But the cool thing about it is just such a neat interface. I think that's the part that really, really won me over, because if I want to do antique, I press antique, and then I flip over to the picture, and then I say I want to do the brightness, and if I go like this, it'll do it up and down. If I go up and down, it'll give me the options for brightness, saturation, any kind of option I want. And then once I click saturation, I can go this way or this way to make it lighter. And then I say, I wonder how much I've edited this photo. You can click down at the bottom, and it'll bring you back your original photo.
Go back to the original photo.
Way
itself.
cool.
And the other thing that happened is that in our house, so around Christmas, we've got an iPad 2, which had the camera in it, and it's such a different experience to be able to take a picture and see it, in a large enough size that you can see it, and then be able to go ahead and send that as an email attachment just by touching it. And now this would add the capability to edit that photo as well. So great price. What's the price point on this here?
$4.99 for the iPad or iPhone app, and $19.99 for the desktop app. And you might go, ooh, $4.99. But do you know the average iPad app is $5? So this meets the average, and we haven't really talked about desktop apps or iPad apps much. They've mostly been mobile apps.
We need to get Dennis in here
yes.
and have him go through this.
And
as soon as it hits the Android. He's an Android guy,
yeah,
so we'll have to make sure that as soon as this hits the Android store, bring him in and have him put it through its paces.
Absolutely. I just have to brag really quickly. Guess what I get tonight? And I can download this
tonight.
app.
Yes.
I get my new 4GS, so... Okay, that's it. Can you tell us about GoToMyPC, which I might, or not GoToMyPC, GoToMeeting, which I can also now get on my
Right.
iPhone.
GoToMeeting, of course, is the way that you can have meetings through the internet, and you can meet for as long as you want, as often as you need to have meetings. It enables you to bring people from all over the country, around the world, or across town into your business meeting, and then you can share with them the desktop, and with HD faces you can also see what their expression is and how they're interacting with that, with what you're talking about at your business meeting. It also has a phone bridge so that people who don't have that capability can dial in with their regular cell phone and participate in the conference as well. You can try it free for 30 days. Just go to GoToMeeting and GoToMeeting.com, look for the Try It Free button, and then enter the code PODCAST, PODCAST. GoToMeeting, it's affordable meetings made easy.
Alrighty, here. Let's talk about things that will be posted this week. Just be on the lookout. We've got some geocaching, geocache radar that we're going to be hopefully incorporating here soon, so you can watch that on your Roku or at RVNN.TV. We've got some geocaching episodes actually going up, especially the one from
Geocaching World that we finished last night. I've got RV Capital Talk that's going to be posted here later today as well.
Yeah, and you can actually, that's the interview with Coley Brady, and that's also on RVBusiness.com. Recording this week, this Friday, we are going to be interviewing Tiffany from Wandering Airstream, the Wandering Airstream blog. So be sure to check that out again. We'll be live at 12 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be looping until 4 o'clock Eastern. And then also on Friday later that afternoon, we're going to be recording RV Capital Talk, we're going to be joined with Randy Potts, who is now the chairman, but the soon-to-be president and CEO of Winnebago Industries.
Yeah.
So very good interview this week.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course it's the sort of opportunity we have to talk to industry leaders and figure out what's happening here in northern Indiana and Elkhart, the RV capital of the world.
All right, and now it's time for
Geocache Radar, and we'll see where we're headed. I forget where we're headed today.
We'll find out.
Let's have a look.
Hey, it's Geocache Radar, episode GCRD 106-3. Today's cache is located near Jackson, Mississippi. While you're in the Jackson area, you could go to the Jackson Zoo. It's been around for more than 90 years and has a collection of over 120 species, nearly 800 individual animals, providing glimpses of native wildlife from around the world. Or you could head for the 119 Underground, home of the blues, jazz, bluegrass, and something or another. Or you could enjoy a family picnic or frisbee golf at the Lafleur Bluff State Park, named for Louis Lafleur, a French-Canadian trader who established a trading post on the banks of the Pearl River in the late 18th century, all within easy driving distance of today's cache. Today's cache is number GC29FHM, difficulty of 1 and a terrain of 1.5, called the Bottle House in the Walls. Its general location, 32 degrees north, 19 minutes, west 90 degrees, 5 minutes. It is a 6-ribbon favorite. Be mindful of muggles. This particular building seems to be falling down. For full details, go to geocaching.com, the official global GPS geocache hunt site. For show notes on this cache, go to rvnewsnet.com/geocache radar. Information is believed to be valid at the time of production, but conditions may change. Use common sense and caution, and do not trespass. Keep geocaching a fun and family RV activity. Geocache Radar is a production of RV Newsnet and RVNN TV, and is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
And that sounds like a really fun activity, and I forget the terrain and difficulty, but I think it's pretty easy to get to, and that'll make it very acceptable for kids and a chance to see something that probably they haven't seen before.
Yes, very much so. That looks cool. I like the underground there that you were telling me about.
Oh yeah, the restaurant.
Yes.
The restaurant looked like it would be very interesting as well, and it seemed like there were a number of restaurants in that particular area that would be fun to explore there in Mississippi.
All right, well, that wraps up today's show. And Andy, you know where we're at. It's about time to go grab lunch. If you're watching us live, it might be the same for you, but if you're catching us in the loop, we hope you've had a great Monday. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to send us an email. Let us know your feedback on the new times and Geocache Radar. We want to hear how you feel about that. So I'm CW at RVNN.TV and
Andy McCaskey, AM at RVNN.TV.
Great. And we hope you have a great Wednesday. We will be back here on Friday, of course, with Tiffany from Wandering Airstream. I'm Courtney Wallen.
And Andy McCaskey from RVNN TV.
Today's show is brought to you by Angie's List, where you'll find thousands of unbiased reports and reviews about service companies in your area. Whether you're looking for a roofer, plumber, house cleaner, dentist, or even a doctor, Angie's List members share their experiences with each other so that you can choose the service company that's right for your job. Companies can't pay to be on Angie's List, and the reviews come from people just like you who have had experience with the companies mentioned. To find out more, go to rvnn.tv and click on the Angie's List ad.